eyes on the Discord as well, so if anybody does drop, we'll move out and reset the game. It's just a little UI bug. They'll definitely be in the match, though. What have they got?
On the side of GermanUnit, we can see they got 12 AV hammers.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Sometimes we get a little bit more medium. For the SerfSlayers, we got only 10 heavy armor. We don't see 2 players, so we're gonna see which class they got. But we got 2 muskets for the moment, maybe to destroy the breach. Maybe I don't look at the comp if they got some javelins to destroy the breach too, because you can make some damage on the breach.
They've got Shenjis though, so they've got GermanUnit's got Lacamo to maybe take down the breach. Obviously, they can use Trebs as well, and they might, because the attackers have got double the artillery, they might use a Culverin on the breach as well. We'll see quickly though how they do it. I'd be surprised if they don't take down both breaches just off the bat though.
Yes, I think he's gonna put them down. And as we see, they have only 1 musket for the attacker, so they will not destroy it with musket.
No.
As we can see, they already took 2 Culverins for the start.
So, Ripcat's starting with assassins as well. I wonder if he's going to try doing like some cheeky business with like Stallion out on the B side today. The Skyfew as quickly as possible, because normally this fight goes real quick. So nobody from GermanUnit started on the B side, which is interesting. So they're going to completely concentrate on A. I suppose it kind of makes sense because they've got so many tier 5s, but
don't have a musket, so they start destroying the door with the heroes and they're putting a Culverin to destroy the breach. No SerfSlayers heroes seems to want to destroy this Culverin because they can just grab it. There is a mortar 2 on the supply and the spawn, and the first fight will already start because they're gonna enter to the door. SerfSlayers don't put some grab shot on the right side from the defender view to kill heroes. They don't choose the position at the top of the door that most of the team use to put some headshot on the back of the attackers when they go to the A. They're using it right now,
players
so they're putting 1 grab shot.
The 2 missing SerfSlayer players were the Tinjev and I just seen the other guy. Oh no, there's 3 chain darts. So Tinjev, Surf Korn are both chain dart, and Kublai as well. We couldn't see those at the beginning screen. Looks like defenders have placed 5 artillery already.
As it's going up, they're going up to the door. Yeah. The mortar destroy one of the 2 grab shots. There's still 1 grab shot at the top to shoot them. They put some traps to try to kill a little bit of the troops on the top. You got Conqueror from a Surf story, and they were touching to the bridge, so you have less SerfSlayers player on the fight because some of them are on the top of the wall right now.
SerfSlayers are going to be at a pinch them here though. And
the Coco from SerfSlayers are doing great job. Some of them have been one-shot. The Kublai 1 have been killed by GermanUnit, but the other one is right now being dived by Ijin.
Breach is getting hammered as well. Although that's Shenji bomb from the attackers was real good. Although you got Roxor up on top of the wall. He just did work, and the assassins from Ripcats got through and killed the Shenji as well.
The fight seems pretty good for SerfSlayers.
I think SerfSlayers are going to clear this up now. They're going to start hemorrhaging heroes. Yeah, there we go.
Yes. The SerfSlayers arrive to take the position at the bridge before the GermanUnit rotate, so they don't have the time to take the place. So they get no spaces, and the SerfSlayers use 2 Zicalian munition, and they are ready to put to throw inside all the GermanUnit. And the munition Zicalian have flames damage after the fall of the grenades, so all the troops from GermanUnit took those damage. So it's
benefit that GermanUnit might have here as well. Look, if you see all the units from SerfSlayers going back to the resupply now to heal, if GermanUnit are quick, they might be able to punch through straight onto A. There's about 5 or 6 units that have gone back to heal up, and like heroes as well to swap units. So if GermanUnit are quick, they might be able to capitalise on the fact that SerfSlayers are spread out across the whole map. So much artillery, the attackers, it doesn't make sense to me that they're not using it either. They're too slow.
Yeah, they don't put a lot of archers.
They're going now, but
it's a little bit late. They take a lot of time after respawning to go. As you said, they maybe should have tried to go instantly after the respawn. And the SerfSlayers taking the fight instantly at the side. They're putting some grab shot to try to keep heroes at the door again.
they're going up on the battlements as well to come from behind as well. So the German unit aren't actually looking the correct way for a lot of the SerfSlayers team.
And SerfSlayers play on the tops. They don't play the side of the point. They play on the tops. They get Coco. They get Zikarian again from a mass flame, doing a lot of damages on the fight, and they're protecting this little top with grab shots behind all the enemy heroes. The German unit took the position of the point, but the trade is very at the advantage of SerfSlayer for the moment.
It's even though 13 heroes, and the German unit do have complete control of the A point. And the units in the back fighting in the back, I think, because there's so little choke points, even though SerfSlayers have more, they can't get to use all their units, so...
Yes, but as you say at the beginning of the game, German unit use 2 T5 comps, so if you press C to see the composition, you will see that they have no more T5 advantages, they have like 300 T4 differences, so I don't think it's possible for Germany to win this game now. They're at only 140 T4 and only 1 T5, so it's loose for Germany right now.
Yeah, and
I think it's well played for SerfSlayers for the first game.
And Yoda from SerfSlayers, the longsword on the resupply, just stopping German unit from getting new units out as well. There's a massive move. So he's about to die, but he slowed him down a good minute or two there. Dr. Yoda even. SerfSlayers rotate so nicely, don't they? They're so quick with it.
One on the side point we can see the German unit still gets 20 archeries. SerfSlayers did very great posing some grab shot to kill heroes, because if when you kill one heroes, his unit going back to the spawn, so it's very important because you have an advantage in the fight, and German unit don't put a lot of grab shots or other archeries. As we saw, it was Wednesday. There were a lot of archers putting during the fight grab shots to try to kill heroes during the fight, and they're putting it, I think, very too late for the German unit.
We've got Ripcats going out the B gate as well, so he's going to come around and flank behind. He's got cavalry, I think that's... Oh no, German unit are going to go breach. They should see Ripcats as well now then. I think German units made a mistake only taking down the A-side gate and A-side breach, because it forces them to go into the whole artillery setup that SerfSlayers have got. And they've got no options. They can only go through those two places now, and they're just struggling to win. Like Ripcat's on the back point now.
Yes, but from what to see, German units don't have enough units. Some of the units are like peasants, so it's already lost. There's no way they win this fight. And even if they win this fight, they will not have any unit for them in the game, so it's GG for SerfSlayers.
Yeah. But I think they're definitely going to regret.
They're taking a good fight for the
map.
last fight. I think SerfSlayers was a little bit too confident for this fight, so they are losing the fight for the moment. But one sad stuff is that there is no anti-cap at all on the supply from the German unit player. If someone was just doing anti-cap, I'm sure they will be able to take this A point.
Yeah, but there's a group of SerfSlayers coming from behind now, and they're going to push onto the point. And there's a minute left. They've got too many heroes alive. Even it's very even.
And if we press X, we can see that SerfSlayers only lose 7 heroes during the World Games. That means there were only 7 deaths during the World Game. And for the German unit players, there were already 5 players dead. 3 times or 2 times. We got 4 players from German unit completely out of the game. So
yeah,
it's finished. I think, as you say, it's sad that they don't try to go to the B, because even if you don't patch the B,
you should just
if you're the defender,
it.
you have to move some players to watch what the enemy are doing. So it takes some time to reposition, to take the position again. And the bridge first push was awful, because I think they took 2 Coco shots, so they take flame damage. And I think because there is 2 muskets in the SerfSlayers teams, you just have to put your clap trap on the ground. It's slowing all the enemy troops, because the bridge is very small, so you cannot miss it.
Nah.
And it costs them a lot on the first fight.
Dr. Yoda as well with the MVP for SerfSlayers. He was the longsword that was on the German unit supply as well for a good minute or two, with 317 and 117 units. Roxor though with 154 units. I think he was with the group that was rotating around the gatehouse the whole time.
And we see Klubai is, I remember him. I don't remember the first of the 2 players with the Zikarian unit, but Klubai was playing the 2 first Zikarian at the first push, and he's second on the game, so there were a big impact with the Killian.
Yeah.
And if we look at the analysis of the battle on the graph, we clearly see that the first fight is awful for the attackants. The gap between the attackants and the defenders losses are huge. SerfSlayers nearly defender, you got 15 archers, and the attacker got 30. They got 2 per player against 1 per player. You don't want them to put archery a lot because it gives them a big advantage in the fight. So it's a bit strange to don't see anything to kill them.
I think on this map though, you'd maybe maximum see a musket or 2. I think normally for longbows or short bows, you'll see it on Reganopolis because there's always that massive artillery phase at sea. I think on I can understand where they're coming from on Highlung because it's mainly a brawl, and I can see why they're like, we don't need too much, but they should maybe have at least a musket or 2, even just to like caltrop the pushes and slow them down.
So it's say maybe just 1 musket because as we saw from SerfSlayers, they got musket to put supply trap.
Yeah.
And last point, this game, it was interesting because as we said, SerfSlayers saved the Zikilian militia. That means it was
SerfSlayers have gone 50-50 as well.
Made on purpose. They already know what they're gonna do if they attack into the bridge or through the door on A. And as we say, SerfSlayers split on B on A. They're gonna open the bridge on B with some archeries, and they're putting mortars to on B.
Yeah, and they've not touched the breach on the A side yet. They have built a couple of mortars on the resupply at A, and they're building some more. They're building multiple mortars on the A side actually. So they're actually going to use the time they've got. And as you see, we're at 7 minutes already, so it is roughly 8 minutes that the defenders only have to defend for. The B side breach is about to drop though, and the gate is about to go down on the B side as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see SerfSlayers rotate to A as soon as everything's destroyed on this side though.
I think it's the plan. It's maybe the plan. It's what we used to see in this map.
Yeah, and because
as we say, they take all the possibilities. They open all the bridge and the gate, and we can see that the defenders have to put some players on B to be sure it's not pushing on B. So the defenders are not set up to cover the A gate. There is nobody covering the top of the A gate. And as we say before the matches, if you're able to take the top on A, as SerfSlayers will do just right now, they're entering from the A gate. They will put some archeries and they will gonna destroy the defenders with just a lot of archers.
Yeah, I think the guys up on the B side, they're almost just sat there to make GermanUnit have to leave units there, because the guys on the A side have been able to push all the way through. They've got into the little pocket. They're building multiple artillery. That's like, what, 4 or 5 mortars going straight down, and they'll start absolutely smashing the GermanUnit position. That's a very good treb as well.
I'm seeing GermanUnits are in the bad position right now. From the position, they need to engage one of the 2 sides and focus on this one to fight. And you can see that they're splitting. There are 2 guys from Germany fighting on the B. They're gonna be completely wiped.
SerfSlayers are going to win that B fight easy, and then the guys on A are going to have to pull back to defend B. And if they do that, and then look, there you go. SerfSlayers are on A already.
They're going to take the position on A, so
they're going to take both almost simultaneously because the units behind A have to choose now. Do they go A or do they go B? And they're going to go for A, but it looks like they're outnumbered on both sides. Because Dr. Yoda, the longsword, is on the back resupply that we were talking about, stopping any GermanUnit guys getting new units out. And they just don't have the units to get on the B. And it looks like on A, that was a good Zicalian bomb though, and that's a good treb as well from SerfSlayers. It's a little bit slower, but it looks like SerfSlayers, has got a lot more units than GermanUnit do.
Yeah, they take a lot of advantage of the fights.
B is just about to get capped, so A is basically a waste now.
But GermanUnit still do the choice of taking T5 units, so they get 200 T5 against more T4 units for SerfSlayers, and SerfSlayers winning the B. They already cap it, so you cannot commit on A because they lost B. They will have to retreat behind the C because you don't want to defend C on this map because you're under the trap.
And they've just lost a lot of heroes.
Are dying. Do you think the SerfSlayers will try to profit of it to try to go instantly on the final?
I don't think they'll go instantly for the final. I think they'll take their time a little bit. They'll go down to the harbour. It looks like the guys with cavalry going to go straight up to the northeastern resupply, though. Just a couple of guys just to keep them off their feet.
struggle losing some troops because they don't retreat as fast as they should do.
Yeah, I think
SerfSlayers
have decided,
too.
Yeah, they've got a couple of guys up, but they're not going to go up to base point, I don't think. I think they've just pushed through, they're going to get the resupply. They've got one guy on the harbour now, they'll get somebody on C point in a second, and then they'll go from there. They've still got 11 trebs, they've got 19 artillery, the defenders have obviously only got 9. Fighting on this last plateau, though, for base point is so difficult as the defender.
Yes, so that's exactly what I was going to say for the archery. So we're gonna take the time, set up a lot of archeries. We can look at the different setups that are trying to put themselves behind the wall on the back. It's because it's the only place you can stay without being trapped in this position. So
or behind like the longhouse on the ramp going down. But if they do that, then SerfSlayers might just rotate a different direction.
I think SerfSlayers will just put a lot of mortars and they will have to move because they will not be able to sustain the life of the troops.
Hero deaths as well. The defenders have lost like 9 guys have died once already, and SerfSlayers have only had 3 guys die once. So that's a huge difference there. And the defenders still have a lot more tier 5 though, and they've got what 290-ish tier 4 against 561. So they might be able to do something on a big push here, but like if they defend, but SerfSlayers have got 2 chevaliers. That's going to be difficult to deal with. And they're going to do a big artillery phase now, though. Built multiple artillery. They just put like 3 or 4 down straight off the bat. They're building even more as well, aren't they? Yeah, they are. The defenders have built a lot as well. They've only got 5 left to place now. I think they might end up losing some. Or losing almost all of it. That's a good treb in the back as well. Going to get rid of the culverin up there.
So they're going into the final, it's just they're from the map, so it's no mistake from SerfSlayers. They're all on the other side.
Yeah.
They just got one longsword waiting, maybe to go to the back.
He might get picked up by this mole though. Oh no, the mole.
Yes. But he will not do any mistake. SerfSlayers are a very experienced team. And from what we can see for the difference of the experience of the team, it's the position of the archeries. It's very crucial in the CBL format, and we can see that all the position of the mortar for SerfSlayers are very worked, and it's very precise and accurate on the position. As you can see that the GermanUnit are putting some archeries
That's a bad move. That treb, look at that treb going. They put so many units up on that plateau if you go like the middle route, and they just took so much damage.
We see some jump. That's why you see that
GermanUnit
some players don't doing a lot of tournament because they're committing a lot of units alone without doing team fights with a lot of mistakes. So SerfSlayers will take the fight because they have advantage of the traps, and the traps will make a lot of damage of the trap. Right now, it will go coming. But there is still a lot of SerfSlayers at the back, so the fight is still going for the GermanUnit because you have to remember that GermanUnit play 2 T5 units, so there are stronger units in the fight, but SerfSlayers have more units in the final of the game. So SerfSlayers are just going to the supply and taking new units to fight again, and they will manage to kill all the GermanUnit, I think, and to clean the point.
Yeah, and when they went back and got new units there, they would have just picked up grape shots as well, so you'll see some grape shots springing out from the attackers in a second, and then they'll have complete control of the flag. That's such a good push from SerfSlayers there, although they've lost more heroes, interestingly. And unit, well, no, they've got 200 units advantage.
Yes, it's because, as you said, it's T5 for GermanUnit, so it seems they win the fight, but they're not because they are committing T5 units, so there is more value in the influence. So the SerfSlayers just go back of the fight, they don't fight with the heroes, they go on the supply, and you have like 25 units against a final of 15 units, so they've still finished to lose the fight after some time.
Now it's GG. Look how many units they've got on that point though.
It's finished and well played. SerfSlayers going to 2-0 against GermanUnit. We're gonna see the next game will be Reginopolis after it. Reginopolis will be SerfSlayers attacking, so it will be hard for for Germany to come back, I think, in this BS5.
SerfSlayers at the end even trebbed themselves. They're like, come on, German unit, we'll give you a hand. That was probably the worst treb I've ever seen.
I think like, if you see the setup, you know you're gonna win the game, so they're chilling because they see the difference of units.
Yeah, but that was
I'm
like...
sure,
that was...
yeah, I'm maybe sure it's doing it on purpose, they're trading themselves.
Whoever did that, they need to buy beers, I think, because that was pretty bad.
You just have to look at the stats, you'll see the allies damage. I think it was Yoda because he did 200,000
oh,
damage
yeah.
allies.
Yoda, you let the team down, bud.
Oh. Those trebs.
I think it was on purpose because he knows it was win.
Yeah, I think maybe he didn't expect his guys to actually push so far up the staircase as well. But then everyone was just like, let's go! That was a good fight, man. Quick as well. How quick did they do that in 9 minutes?
I think when you see this defense, you see that GermanUnit are not as prepared as the top teams of Europe. Because it's big players from old white blood Iran house and from origin, so it's a lot of big players, but they don't have any experience in tournament. And you see that in tournaments there is a lot of decision to take, and what's made a lot is the position at the starting of the game and the placement of archeries. SerfSlayers put archery exactly where you have to put archery perfectly, and GermanUnit just put archery during the fight when it seems it could be fine, but SerfSlayers destroyed them instantly most of the time, so it was a big mistake for them.
Yeah, definitely. And there was definitely some, let's say, questionable decisions from GermanUnit on that end point, because when they were defending base, like, the worst place to sit on is like the plateau.
Yes. Where
you can go up the staircase. Like, that plateau is terrible to defend. And they just moved everything up there and got absolutely trebbed to death. If we look at the chart now as he goes through, you'll just see everything dying at the back. Yeah, so you'll see them lose loads at A. Basically, B gets capped at that point. Then they cap A, and then it moves through. There's a little fight around C where the really quick guys from SerfSlayers pushed up. And then they just start annihilating everything in the back there. And then there's like a little artillery phase, and then they go through.
Yes.
But, if we jump onto the map display, though.
Well, on the map display, yes.
This area in...
But it's just because they got T4 and they come back with more units because they still have a third rotation of units.
Yeah. Yeah. And the difficult thing on Reaganopolis is when you're defending, normally they'll defend behind C, and there's like a huge, like 10-12 minute artillery phase, and SerfSlayers will be more than happy to just slam down mortars for days, and the tier 5 units that GermanUnit will have out, they'll start losing units, and when the fight does come, they'll be low health and low on units, and they'll lose the fight anyway, even though they've got technically the higher tier units. They'll be so weakened by the time the fight actually goes down that they'll struggle, I reckon. I did see that Tocho, though, for GermanUnit had a longbow as well, so he'll probably around the sea area, he'll be up on that tower to the east of it, and he'll be trying to counter as much as the artillery as possible that SerfSlayers put down.
You get GermanUnit at the defense. From the previous games they play against Conqueror, they try to keep defending A and B with 3 T4. This time they take a lot of T5, so they're clearly going behind the C to defend, as we say on most of the game. The only time we see another defend during the tournament was them doing A-B fight against Conqueror because they were only 14 against them.
They got hammered
and Nabichi is doing a
well.
defense on C Wednesday.
Yeah. But I think what I would like to see here, though, from GermanUnit is to make it look like they're going to defend inside C, just to make SerfSlayers have to put down artillery. And then as soon as they start placing artillery, then they should just pull back without taking any shots, or maybe just like 1 or 2 mortars, pull back behind C, heal up your units, and then you've at least made them waste some artillery and a little bit of time.
Yes, exactly. If you even fake to get the position on C, you as an attacker you have to except if you're going instantly as did Wednesday game faction again. Nobichis, it was a big mistake because it was clearly a real defender on C and they were completely wiped the first rotation of units. You have to commit some archeries to take the information on the enemy's position, and you have to they will, if you keep the position on C, they will put some archers, as you say, to try to recur your position.
I see where German unit have already placed 2 artillery. It looks like behind the C point, towards the stairs, towards like the base point, they've placed a mortar already. I can't find. Oh, there's a grape shot already facing the breach. Okay,
I think
like
it's a
right behind the
mistake
battlements
taking
on the
wave
C.
shot already because it will be destroyed during the archery phase. Because
Yeah,
clearly,
get mortared, yeah.
all the times there will be. What's gonna happen? SerfSlayers gonna take A, B, and C. They're gonna set up a lot of archeries on C on some position that won't be able to be destroyed by the longbow because they knew, and they stood by all the position for the archeries. So they're just gonna poke a lot of time, and when they will think there is an advantage or an opportunity to push against GermanUnit, they just go between. They get 2 choices. You can go through the door or through the bridge that they're gonna destroy in the future.
The breach hasn't really been touched as well, has it, so far? I reckon we might see SerfSlayers doing artillery phase, and instead of taking down the breach, they might actually use the wall, like rotate inside C up onto the wall and across it, because there's still hussars on the field for the for both teams, obviously, but for the defender, and if you use the wall first, you can like run across and you're quite far towards the base before you can get hit by any unit or especially cavalry. And they're going to almost be on base point already, and the whole defense from German units going to have to completely rotate like away from the supply point past C to try and stop them. And then all SerfSlayers will have to do is place a roadblock, and then they're just going to be laughing. Because if you look like next to C, going up towards base, like the long way round almost, there is like a unit or 2 units on the floor, and if SerfSlayers use the wall, they're just going to bypass everything.
You can see that SerfSlayers have 2 longbow on 3 muskets. They can throw a lot of damage on the units under them. With the longbow, you can try to focus some exotics and focus from long range, and with the muskets, you can kill all the units and send some grenades on them from the top. Those players maybe before the patch will maybe switch to pike or other classes. Maybe I think even with Max Flame play. I will look at it on internet. It's Lance in French. The class of Medium, not Nodashi.
The glaive, or what do you mean?
No, I mean the lens. It's lens. Okay, it's lens. There is 2 lens player on SerfSlayers team.
Ah, okay. Do you mean the pike though, like the Chinese pike, the one where you can do the backflips to get out of battle?
No,
like
the old one. The old one.
The old spear. Yeah.
The spear. That's the word I was looking for. My bad. Excuse me. And
lance. Yeah, lance makes sense because you got like the charge when you're with your cavalry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really my bad. And I forget. During my night, I said Hussar was maybe for grassland, but I was wrong. If you remember, during the game Conqueror against GermanUnit, Conqueror managed to do a brilliant first push on during the attacks, but they were completely wiped by a Hussar charge on the regional police. And there is a Hussar waiting on the spawn for the defenders, and maybe they're gonna try to do the same thing, because Pongard do a big mistake trying to go to the bridge and rush the final point. And when they try to rush the final point with some players, they don't have any anti-cav, and they took a Hussar charge in the face.
I think though, SerfSlayers are already planning for that because they've got at least 2 sets of camels out. They've got a good chunk of halberdier sergeants as well. Yeah,
so they got few anti-cavs in the composition. It's clearly not a mistake that's gonna do SerfSlayers. I think SerfSlayers got the advantage. I think they will just take the position at the gate or the bridge, and they're gonna go slow. They're gonna just destroy the setup of the opponents. They're gonna take the supply, and they're gonna do a last phase of archery on the last point. But they only
breach now as well.
8 archery on this point. It's still 22 archery for SerfSlayers.
I don't think they've lost any of it yet, though, have they? They've got.
They lost none of them, because if you look at the position of the archery from SerfSlayers, you got some hidden on the right wall in the fort. It's not available for the longbow to touch them, and you got some in the little triangle. You get on the top of the wall too.
You're right. In the picture now, you got 3 up on top of the wall and 2 down underneath it. Yeah, and without using mortars from the defenders, you can't get to that. And as soon as the mortar goes down for the defenders, it's going to get targeted and destroyed. And there's a trap down onto a ballista at the back as well, where Wero is for the defender.
Maybe if we're looking at if we trying to do a tab button, we can look at the unit of GermanUnit. They lost not a lot of units on some of the they load some Albertus T3 units. They get some pikes, some impact. They lost 9 Skullmost on one of the units, Shin Maidens, and 6 40 boy shots. They don't lose a lot of units. They dodge very well the archeries, but one of the difficulties is to be set up because you don't see any setup on GermanUnit position because there are proc from everywhere.
Yeah.
There is no way for them to set up because you got the 5
I think the push
heroes
is
and
coming now as well,
the action is starting
actually.
because they don't have the position. SerfSlayers will just go from the door and take the position instantly, and
They
they're
push
leading them
straight
the
through with
position. It's a
cavalry
big
as well.
mistake. They're trying to hold them, but there is some mid-gens to open the fight.
The Shenjis
SerfSlayer
from
point.
GermanUnit now, though, are getting in a position to bomb, although they
And
should
the
have stayed
Ursa
on the
trying to
balcony
go
to
from
bomb.
the stairs. But there is some camels at the front. Mr. Dr. Yoda destroys the Templar.
That's a good
Templar and
Shenji bomb,
completely
though.
destroys the Ursa too. And the fight is clearly win for SerfSlayers at the moment. You get Senji at the top. You get the camels that have been at the fight on the front. That completely tank the 2T5 cavalry from GermanUnit. And
now
their heroes from
SerfSlayers are
GermanUnit
into
gonna
the
start
Shenji as
dying
well.
right now.
Yeah, and they've just lost a lot of good units as well. That was
Yes, because
such a quick attack.
say it again, GermanUnit play for most of the player 2 T5, so they got 2 rotation of units, and SerfSlayers got 3 rotation of T4 units, and they don't lose a lot from SerfSlayers point.
But that was a really good push. That was a really
And
good
they're gonna
push.
just snowball on the finale because they kill most of the GermanUnit heroes. They kill 8 heroes
Now they're on point, yeah.
from GermanUnit, so they will just set up on it because the trap when you're fighting on it, because SerfSlayers anti-cap
All the
supply
grape shots
instantly.
going down as well.
No way.
Oh, the first
It's
guy
huge.
straight away dead, headshotted with a grape shot. That is brutal.
You set up the grab shot, it's finished, and they still have 16
and the Treb's
archery.
coming down as well now. There's a couple of guys trying to get behind, but SerfSlayers even had guys in the back alleyway completely blocking them. They've got
2 albarges on one
they've got
stalwart.
halberdiers, they've got grape shots. This is GG.
It's full setup, it's finished.
Yeah,
And well played them.
that was such.
Welcome to
such a
SerfSlayers.
good-
It was
Yeah,
almost
very
played.
clinical. Very clinical.
as you say.
That
Maybe
was quick.
before going to the map and talking again from the mistake, maybe also the push on different software been made, we can analyze the battle in the analysis of battle before going to the maps. GG to Giotto for the MVP and Ripcat for the second place. But if you look at the trade, there is only one big trade, of course.
Yeah.
The first one is all the archery phase, the little pick, and the second one is the push, and you can see GermanUnit have been completely wiped. They don't stand a chance. They've been destroyed.
If you look at the post-battle analysis, then you can see the peaks on the death count. It's like 100, maybe slightly over 100 for the attackers, SerfSlayers, as they did the main push, and then the defenders lost well over 315. It says on the death
It was
count.
T5. It was T5
as well. Yeah, it was
maybe
tier 5 as
units
well. Yeah.
against a full rotation.
And 18 heroes to 1, so that
To
is
1.
massive.
So well
Nice.
played to SerfSlayers.